Hi everyone, I'm going to be showing you today how I illustrate using Procreate. So first I start off with a 12.9 iPad Pro and I use a second generation Apple Pencil. So these are the two things that I use personally to illustrate using Procreate. So what I'm going to be showing you is the sketch brushes that I personally use to get started in any drawing or painting. So I'm going to go to the sketching category and go down to the 6B pencil and also the HB pencil right there. These two are the ones that I use the most for sketching and drawing any foundation. So here I am, I'm showing you the line weight for the 6B pencil, and I'm also adjusting the size over here on the left side. That is what size I am now, but you can always adjust it, of course. And this is a skinny version of the 6B pencil, and then when you tilt it on the side, it looks really cool. It looks exactly like a pencil would. This is why I love it so much, and I'm not sure about other artists and how they started, but these are the brushes and tools that I use to get started when I'm gonna do a character or just draw the composition out like any regular or traditional artist would. I just use exactly the HB pencil. You can never go wrong with that. 6B or HB, you know. Personally, I use it because of the nostalgic texture of it. So I think it's really great to use if you're just getting into digital art in that case. So yeah, 1010, I really would recommend these two pencils personally to start off with any painting you're about to do or drawing. Alrighty, the next one I'm gonna use is for line art. And let's go to calligraphy and we're gonna go down to script. Script is my main brush that I use to start any line work, and I discovered it about 4 to 5 months ago, so I've been using it for that time and I love it so much, and you're gonna see why. Whether it's very thick lines or if it's any skinny lines, you can see that it's really smooth and adaptable in terms of pressure, and you could really get into like skinny details or very thick line weights. So in terms of line weight, this is a great one. The next one is chalk. It's on the same one as calligraphy. Let's use a different color this time though to show the texture. And this is, I could tell, a very loved brush, and it's mainly for its texture and the stylization it gives to your painting or your character. We love that nitty-gritty texture right there that chalk gives, and I would say it's one of my favorites as well. And the next one I'm gonna use is the shell brush. Shell brush is kind of like a oily version of chalk, and it's really blendable and it still gives the same sort of texture. We're gonna move on to painting now, and I'm gonna show you what I use. So first off, I use the round brush. I think any artist is gonna tell you to start off with that one, and that one is really great in terms of using it for painting and also for blending, but I'm gonna show you what it does for painting so far. So off the bat, you could see that I am lightly pressing on the tablet here with my pen, and it gives a very light hue of the blue. And what is this brush known for, in my honest opinion, is its workability to build up. So you can use it very lightly, like so, and you can just build it up brush by brush. And also, this brush is really great for blending, I might add, you know. Next one is the flat brush. It's exactly the same as the round brush, but just a different in terms of the shape it gives. So I would recommend this for, you know, like trees or, you know, buildings. It's just easier. The next one is Nico Roll. Nico Roll, if I'm pronouncing it right, is one of my top favorites to do when I'm doing a painting as well. It gives a very textured feel and high stylization to the paintings, and we love that. The next one I'm gonna be using is the acrylic one. For some reason, acrylic doesn't seem like acrylic to me. It has more of like a washy sort of effect, and I guess you could say it does, you know, feel acrylic-y because you add water to acrylic. But that is also one of my favorites, and I'm going to use hard brush to show you how it looks while blended. So here it is while it is being blended with hard brush on acrylic. And now the Nico Roll one and the flat brush. So that's how they look. Next up, we are going to be doing a demonstration. We are going to be starting off with the tools that I showed you in the beginning to create just a regular character. And it's not going to be perfect, but this is how I go about using my tools in terms of doing a character or just starting off as a base and working up. So first we do the circle, and I'm here framing the head and the hair and just the face. So this is gonna be a cartoony kind of vibe here. In other words, it's gonna be more cartoony, not a realistic face, more cartoony stylization, if I'm being honest with you guys. So proportions aren't gonna be super realistic and accurate, but I am gonna be doing this demonstration in hopes of showing you how I used to illustrate. So I'm almost done here, just gotta do the eyes, and I'll probably be fixing other things too, just doing the little details here for her little eyelashes. And this is all with the 6B pencil. The 6B pencil, like I said, is totally my favorite, and it looks exactly just how you would on, you know, pencil and paper. If I drew this on paper, it would look the same, I feel, but with less of a gritty texture. But this is why I love this pencil to start off with my foundations or sketching, and I personally use it just to make cool art on its own. Like, pencil art is really great and cool, and you don't have to be fancy with it. Just the texture of the pencil is what gives it a cool effect. And so next I'm going to be using the calligraphy brush, so I can use for a line work. And we're gonna use script, which I said was my favorite brush to do line art. So as you can see, it's really easy to use. It really blew my mind, and you just gotta get used to the flare of it. So in the beginning, when I start off, the line weight for it is really thick, and then I flare it off really skinny, as you could see. So I'm using very thick pressure right there, very heavy pressure. And then, you know, the tip of the chin right there that you see is really skinny. And that's what I love about this brush, because it is super versatile in terms of line weight, and you could use it with anything really. Doing her eyebrows here. Alright, so we're almost at the end of doing all her line art. Next, I'm gonna show you what I use for coloring, but first we're gonna rename everything. So we're doing the sketch, and we're on the layer of line art, and the third is the color base. So you know, basically her skin color and her hair and all that. And I'm gonna use like a very brown tan color for her skin. But first I'm gonna put the line art as a reference so all the layers can go off from that. So oops, right off the bat that just did not work because I did not close off the line art. So if your line art is not closed like so, it's gonna bleed into other areas. See? So I fixed it, and now I put the color and it fit right into her face. Perfect, see? And now right here I'm closing off everything, so when I choose her hair color, it's not gonna bleed all over the whole page. See, there you go. Yeah, so I use a red color for her hair, and I'm gonna be cleaning up the edges that the color threshold did not reach, so that means it didn't fully color all of her hair. So I gotta go there and clean it up, and it usually happens in the tips of the hair or the little crevices. So you gotta be really careful and just zoom in. And we did a separate layer for her eyes, and you gotta separate everything, in my opinion, because if you don't, you could work on one layer or two, but in the end, if you want to change something, you're gonna be working destructively, and that means you are not gonna be able to change anything really easily, and you're just gonna have a hard time. So I'm gonna show you the differences of the layers and how they look. So here's without the hair color, here's without the skin color, and here are without the eye layer. And this is how it looks without the line work. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of this demonstration, and I hope it was useful showing you how I use to illustrate in Procreate. In my opinion, this is a simplistic method you could use, and I hope it's very useful to you and you use it in your artwork if you'd like. So in this section, I'm going to be showing you the examples of brushes that I showed you in the beginning. So here is an artwork that I did, and I'm going to take off the layer of line work here. It's layer 2 reference, and I'm showing you how it looks without the lines. Alright, so for this artwork that I did, I'm going to show you the two main brushes that I used, or pencils. I showed you in the beginning is 6B and the HB pencils. I used it along the Susanna arm and the tree and Sasuke's clothing. So this is a type of stylizations you can use just using this brush alone. The next one is a painting that I did here. It's one of my favorite paintings actually, and because of the kitties, but let me show you what brushes I used to create this effect, especially in the grass. I used nickel roll, and I just brushed up to give it that like little painterly texture that you see in the grass here. And I also use the jagged brush, but I use the jagged brush for blending purposes, and I just push the grass up, and here I'm showing you the little textures that it's creating using the jagged brush. Alright, so next up is showing you what brushes I used to do this Legend of Zelda artwork that I did. I used mainly the round brush and also the nickel roll, and I used it mainly for like the trees and the building right there where the moss is. I used a round brush, as well as for the trees I used a specific brush called the foliage spread brush, and I just adjusted the size of it so it could be really tiny and show that kind of detail of moss right there. Alright, so for this one, I actually want to show you guys a technique that I used to do a photo study for this. And I used the lasso tool, I believe it's called, and freehand, and just created some mountains as you could see, and I just used a dark red orange like the other surrounding areas right there, and I just dropped it in. And I'm gonna use the warp tool just to make some adjustments, and use the freehand tool again so I create a highlight on the mountain so it looks like the sun is hitting it from the left side, so it can create that depth. And just, it's really easy to use, and I would really recommend it to make your life easier in artwork, especially big compositions. Thank you, friends, for watching. I appreciate you. Hopefully this was a little helpful to you. I'll be hopefully posting more videos soon. Please let me know if you have any questions down below. Also, side note, if you are interested in some of the artworks I created, I do have an art shop, and I appreciate any support if you'd like to support me. The link in the description will be below.